Welcome to, or welcome back to, The War Room with Jael, and I am your host, Jael. Okay, so we are ready to continue with our series on personal branding, and so far we have covered what it is, why it's important, and what it is not. And I will add the definition that we have been using for the purposes of this series on the screen, and I will also link past videos in the description box below. In this video, we will cover 5 critical actions to identify and establish your brand.
Strengthen your strengths.
Years ago, I attended a leadership training program very early in my corporate career, and it focused on the idea that time is better spent strengthening your strengths rather than trying to eradicate your weaknesses. And this concept stayed with me for many years, obviously, since I'm still talking about it. But here's the thing. No matter how hard you try or how much effort you exert, your weaknesses may never transform into strengths. And I'll give you a silly example. Now, for those of you who saw the first video in this series, you already know that I would love to be able to sing like a mixture of Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey combined. And I can take voice lessons and diligently practice my runs for the next 5 years. And while I will be a better singer, I really wouldn't be a bona fide singer, at least not in the way that I define it. And that's okay, but I can write, I can speak, and I can dance. So my time would probably be better spent fortifying those gifts. So when identifying your brand, focus on those things you just naturally do well. Your core values, your talents, your passion, your personality, your superpowers. Those strengths that you either came out of the womb with or you cultivated over the years. Engage and enhance your natural talents to stand out in a way that is unique to you. Your personal brand is not about what you wished you were. It is about what you inherently radiate.
Ignite your superpowers.
The point of personal branding is not keeping all of your goodness to yourself. Because remember, half of the equation is how others perceive you. So for instance, if part of your core brand is leadership, a strong leader exhibits solid leadership and followership skills because they are secure enough in themselves to recognize the strength in others and delegate responsibility accordingly so that others can shine. Having a superpower is about changing the world, whether it's one person or billions. I mean, have you ever heard of a superhero being stingy in doing good? I mean, has Black Panther, Wonder Woman, The Incredibles, Almighty Isis, or Spider-Man ever refused to help someone else? Even their nemesis sometimes? Think about it. And yes, I know, I love superheroes. But there is a reason why you were able to think and act in the way that you do, and it's not just for your benefit. Every part of the body of humanity has a power and a purpose. How will you use your superpowers?
Develop a healthy mental space.
Where you are mentally plays a role in your own acknowledgement and identification of your brand. A strong sense of self and emotional intelligence can help you more clearly define your unique value proposition. And since emotional intelligence and unique value proposition are terms that are becoming more and more mainstream, I will add the definitions to the screen to ensure that we are working with the same understanding.
Emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. Emotional intelligence is the key to both personal and professional success. Also known as a unique selling proposition, your unique value proposition is a clear statement that describes the benefit of your offer, how you solve your customers' needs, and what distinguishes you from the competition.
If you do not have confidence in your abilities and the reasons why you matter, it will reflect in the definition and execution of your brand as you see it. Because personal branding is not just a symphony of prettily placed words, it's a way of life. But there is no guilt or failure if you struggle to recognize your worth. It's a journey. But the great news is that developing a personal brand can create an awesome opportunity to engage in some deep personal reflection to discover who you really are. So when you do espouse your values, your talents, your passion, your personality, your superpowers, you live and believe them. Personal branding projects your mental space.
Assess your physical presence.
Although humans can be visual in nature and physicality can play a role in others' perceptions of us, this is not about perfectly coiffed hair or a tailored three-piece suit. Now, those are good, those are nice, but they are not required for a strong personal brand because it is much less about your physical image and much more about your physical presence. Now, there are people who the world may not traditionally believe to be beautiful or handsome, but yet and still there is a certain aura and energy around them that just draws you in. I mean, just as there are those who know how to suck the air out of a room, there are also those whose mere presence shifts the atmosphere into a positive light just by virtue of them being there. When you walk into a room, interact in a meeting, serve your clients, work with your colleagues, your countenance, your body language, your leadership and followership skills all tie into your brand. Even when you think your presence is not noted, it is. And here's the trickier part. We cannot see ourselves in most situations because we tend not to live our lives in front of a mirror or play back our interactions. And quite frankly, that's probably a good thing. So here is where other people's perceptions of us can play the biggest role. So one of the challenges from the first video in this series was to poll at least 5 people and ask them what their perceptions of you were. And for those of you who were able to complete that, what did you find with regard to your physical presence? Did it align with how you see yourself? What differences were noted, if any? Our physical presence plays a part in how others perceive us.
Use media exposure strategically.
Now, in the last video, we talked about the fact that establishing a strong personal brand is not dependent upon having a social media presence, platform, how many likes or followers you have. The first personal brand started with the first person on earth, and it had nothing to do with media exposure. Nonetheless, if you do engage in media, whether it be traditional or new school, it can play a major role in building a platform on which your brand can be exposed to a much wider audience. Now, this is where business branding and personal branding, those approaches converge. Be strategic in your use of media because it does reach a much wider audience. Those who view your activity do not have the benefit of knowing you personally in many cases. And what they see on your platform is all they know, even if it's just a microcosm of who you are. Do not discount the impact, positive or negative, of what one tweet, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat post has on your brand. Now, we will talk more about brand survival tips a little later in this series, but social media exposure, any type of media exposure, can be a blessing and a curse. But nevertheless, connected to a previous point, media, when used strategically, can be a beneficial way to bless other people with your superpowers. So be intentional about extending your brand reach. Well, warriors, we have come to the end of another video, and I hope it has given you some gems to polish your personal brand. So here is the challenge for this week.
How do you acknowledge and honor your strengths in your personal brand? Secondly, how do others perceive your physical presence? Now remember, this is not surface level decorative features, but what difference does your physical presence make? And lastly, if you use media platforms, what is your thought process for your engagement and how does it connect with your personal brand? Comment below with your thoughts.
As always, thank you for watching. And until next time, my brave, bold, and bodacious warriors, be fearless, be faithful, be visionary, be victorious.
Hey warriors, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And hit that bell notification so you never miss an upload. Also, follow me on Twitter at War Room Coaching for even more business and life motivation. Have a visionary day.